Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I stayed consistent in my fitness journey for 3,501 days, give or take. That is definitely an estimation. This is how I never lost motivation. When I think you're kidding. Sorry about that, guys. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I stay motivated and everything I think about when I think about skipping the gym or when I think about not showing up. And I remember how I wanted to start every single video by saying, do hard shit, do the things that you say you will, and don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about you. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. We're gonna talk about how I never lost motivation throughout the entirety of my training journey. It's a common question I get asked. It's a common question that I see in my Instagram DMs, on YouTube. I post a lot about it on TikTok. So this is going to be a full-length informational video, especially in regards to me, so you get to know a little bit more about me and my journey and how I always have motivation all the time. Let's get right into it. Before we even discuss how I always have motivation, we need to define what motivation is. Okay, what does it mean? Now, I'm assuming you guys think motivation is like always wanting to do something. We actually Google the definition of motivation. See, what does it mean? The reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. Okay, so that's what motivation is. We need to kind of shift our mindset from always wanting motivation to building discipline. Now I made a whole chart here, but we're going to go ahead and get into number one. Now, respect. Now, when we look at this, what is respect? A lot of people want to be respected, right? And I always give my respect to other people. I'm not one of those people that's like, you have to earn my respect. I respect you until you disrespect me or until you give me a reason not to respect you. At my lowest points, one commonality was a lack of self-respect because I never showed up for myself. So I knew that even on the days where I didn't want to go, if I went, I would have so much respect for myself. Since I noticed a commonality at all of my lowest points in my life that I've experienced so far was a lack of self-respect and just feeling like shit about myself, I realized that the more things that I did that made me respect myself, the more I would avoid these low points in life, right? If every single time that I felt like shit or I was struggling or I was going through something, I noticed that I had a lack of respect for myself, the only other option or course of action was to do things that made me look at myself and be like, I respect you. And what did that look like? It looked like going to the gym and working out and doing the things that I said that I would. And I would have respect for myself because I didn't want to go. I was exhausted. I was tired. I was sad. I was frustrated. I was feeling some sort of emotion that was telling me I shouldn't go, but I went anyways. And every single time I went, I was able to look at myself in the mirror and have much more self-respect than I did prior. And so by repeating those actions over and over again, you didn't necessarily want to, I was building that self-respect that was pulling me out of the hole I had fallen into, because realistically in life, you're going to fall into holes. You're going to be at low points. And when I realized that self-respect and doing things for myself, even when my own self doesn't want to do it, is what's going to get me out of that, I was able to kind of separate myself into two different people, and the me that was in the hole and the me that knew how to get out. And so the me that knew how to get out would like encourage me in the hole by saying, okay, we're going to go to the gym, even though we don't want to, it's going to be okay. Like, we got this. You're going to feel better afterwards anyways. I made a video before where I talked about how you kind of have to separate yourself into two separate people, because you are not always going to have someone who's going to be like, hey, like, who's going to lift you up. You won't always have that. But the first factor that ended up propelling my unlimited motivation, unwavering motivation, was the respect I had for myself. And I knew that any time that respect dwindled, I fell into a hole where I felt like shit. It affected me negatively mentally, and it was never good. So even though I knew that I probably did want to skip, I probably didn't want to go, I knew that if I didn't go, I wouldn't respect myself. Therefore, I would end up feeling like shit about myself, and it would send me into a spiral that was going to be much worse. Say that I've never regretted going when I didn't want to, and I've always regretted skipping, right? So it really just comes down to a level of respect. And the level of respect that you have for yourself ultimately dictates the goals you're going to achieve, how far you're going to go in life. And when I realized the correlation to your self-respect and how successful you are, I would always choose self-respect over skipping, over comfort, over anything else, really, because the more you respect yourself, the further you're going to be able to go in life. I realized this when I wanted respect from other people so badly, and it wasn't until I reflected inwards and I was like, okay, why does no one respect me? And I had no level of self-respect, and it's like, how will other people respect me if I can't even respect myself? So that kind of leads us into the next point, which is self-love. Now, I talked about this in another video as well, but self-love is not sitting in the mirror and being like, you're perfect the way that you are. I love myself. You're going to want to stay in your comfort zone. You're going to want to always gratify yourself. You're going to always want to give yourself what you want. But loving yourself is being able to discipline yourself, being able to restrict yourself, being able to control yourself, and being able to do what is needed to get you where you want to go. And it's not always giving in. Getting yourself from point A to point B, which is essentially where you're at and the goals that you have, requires a level of self-love that not many people possess, because it takes self-discipline. It takes being able to be hard on yourself. And it's hard to be tough on yourself, especially when you can't split yourself into those two separate mentalities, people, whatever. The truest form of self-love is discipline. It's being able to know that you want something, but also knowing that it's going to set you back, right? A lot of people don't get where they need to go because they confuse self-love with always giving in, always eating whatever they want, looking in the mirror and not being great and telling themselves that they are great, right? And it kind of ties back into, what standard do you hold yourself to, right? You have these goals, you have these wants, you have this kind of life. The people that have that have so much self-love that they hold themselves to a higher standard. It's directly correlated. The higher of the standard you hold yourself to, the more that you love yourself. Because realistically, that is what's needed to foster growth. And that looks like showing up even when I don't want to, because I know it's what I deserve. And I'm going to get a little bit on a personal level here so you guys can kind of resonate with me a little bit. But earlier in my life, when I was in certain relationships, I lacked so much self-love and I was a bad partner. I was unhappy, and it was reflected in all aspects of my life. It generated a lot of insecurities within me. And in my relationships, I wanted someone to give me something that I thought I deserved when I couldn't even give it to myself. And it kind of goes to show, if I peel back a couple layers here, that I thought that I wasn't deserving. I thought that I wasn't deserving of this kind of love, that I couldn't even give it to myself. And I was wondering why I wasn't feeling it from anyone else. And it's because I truly felt like I wasn't deserving of it. Right? So it wasn't until I really understood the concept of loving myself that I was like, okay, like loving myself wasn't always letting myself have cheat meals and be in my comfort zone. I didn't realize that loving myself was in doing the hard things, doing the hard work, right? So many times that I stayed in my comfort zone, I was lazy, I was comfortable, I always did whatever I wanted to make me feel good in the moment, and I never understood the concept of self-discipline and how that is the truest form of self-love. My lack of self-love was directly correlated to my lack of discipline, and that was reflected through all aspects of my life. And it's like, if I don't hold myself to a certain standard, how can I expect to show up as the best me in all other aspects of my life? I thought that self-love was basically just making sure I was always comfortable, and I would just be like, oh, well, yeah, you're overweight, but it's okay, love yourself. No, self-love is knowing, okay, you're overweight, it's okay, we're going to get out of this, you can do this. It's encouraging yourself. It's not always being easy on yourself. It's doing the things that you may not want to do, but you know it needs to be done. And then tying that back into a relationship, it's like, if I couldn't even give myself what I knew I deserved, how could I expect to get that from someone else? How could I expect someone to treat me a certain way when I wouldn't even treat myself with the same respect and the same love? I found myself getting in these toxic relationships that ultimately slowed me down in life because I wasn't aware of what self-love was, and it also altered my view and concept of love, and it also made me show up as not the best partner that I could be. And who I was reflected in my relationships and my partners in my life. And so the way that I showed up was what I also received from life. Again, this ties back to splitting into two different people, right? I would be like, I really don't want to go today. And the disciplined, self-loving, respectable me was like, well, you deserve someone who's going to show up for you, even if that someone was me. This leads me into the next point, confidence. Now, when I was younger, again, talking about this a lot in terms of me, but when I was younger, I lacked so much self-confidence that I let people treat me in ways that I probably shouldn't have allowed. I stayed places where I probably shouldn't have stayed because I lacked so much self-confidence to leave. Um, I could have achieved way more had I just had the confidence to even try. And confidence is essentially the willingness to try. I lacked confidence because I never tried things. And because I never tried things, I was never able to see that when you try things, number one, you probably won't fail. Number two, if you do fail, you will get up, you will be fine. You're still breathing, the world's still turning, the sun will rise and set, right? Everything's going to be fine. And number three, you'll probably do way more than you even think you could. Like, there are many times in the gym where I'm like, I don't know if I can push this weight, and I end up banging out 12 reps, right? That's just a very simple example. But there's other things like, I never thought that I could do half the things that I've done career-wise, and I did it, and I tried. I had the confidence to try, and it worked. And it worked far, far, far better than I actually thought it ever would. I would be really tired, and I wouldn't want to go, but I was like, you know what? Let me just go try. Let me just try. I would just drive myself to the gym and be like, you know what? Let's see what I can put out there today. Let's just try. Like, yes, it feels like I can't do it. Yes, it feels like I'm tired, but let me just give it a shot. I knew that every single time when I didn't show up when I said I would, or when I skipped when I said that I would go, it would take a blow to my confidence. And I knew that I would lose confidence by the day if I never kept my word. Confidence was really important to me because my lack of confidence affected how I showed up in the world. So to improve my life, like I knew this needed to change, right? I was so insecure to the point where I couldn't even eat a full meal. I couldn't walk into a place if I knew other people were in there. Like I was so insecure in my sense of self that I couldn't show up as me. And it carried into my relationships, into my friendships, into the way that I went about my day-to-day life. It made me suffer. And so I realized that my lack of confidence was directly correlated to all the times I said I was going to do this, but then I got too scared or I got too tired or I just decided that I wasn't going to show up. Like I said, hey, I'm going to go to the gym today, but then I I put it off till the end of the day, and then I got too busy, and the next thing I know, I ran out of time, and I said, okay, you know what, I'm not going to go today. And I spent the whole night feeling like shit because I didn't do what I said I was going to do. And your confidence can only take so many blows before you're just insanely insecure. And I was very insecure at the time. And especially growing up, like you don't have that many wins. So it becomes the willingness to try. And then the more you try, the more wins that you get under your belt. And the more you're like, I can do this. Like every time I showed up when I didn't want to, I was like, I can do it. Like I have done it. Like I'm okay. So essentially I knew that every single time I didn't show up, that I was going to become less and less confident. And I was going to feel like shit. And I knew how important my confidence was to the way that I showed up in the world. Right? Who I am now, the me that you guys see now is not me when I was insecure. This is me in my most confident form, and I'm able to show up into the world as the authentic version of me, not only for me, but for other people around me, the people that I love, the people that I speak to, my friends, my family, whenever I'm in a relationship, right? And I realized that building up my confidence and pouring into me made me show up better for everyone else too. Responsibility. After a while, I realized that I was the only person that was going to get me from point A to point B, that was going to achieve my goals, that was going to be able to take me where I wanted to go. I stopped waiting around for opportunities to happen, things to change, people to do something or help me or whatever, and realized that it was literally all on my shoulders. So I knew that any time that I skipped, didn't go, didn't show up, or gave up myself, I was being irresponsible in a sense because I said I was going to do something. And if I say I'm going to do something for my friends, my family, my partner, whatever, if I tell them I'm going to do something, I always show up. Why wouldn't I do it for myself? It kind of ties back into the respect, self-love, all that stuff. If I tell them that I'm going to show up for them and I do, why would I not do it for myself? Like, do I love and respect them more than I do myself? And if so, how can I expect someone else to love and respect me when I can't even do it for myself, right? Everything that you want in life is up to you to accomplish. No one else will do it for you. No one's coming to help you. No one is going to save you. When you realize that it's your responsibility and everything is your fault, especially in your own life, you will show up. Like it just being able to conceptualize that, you will show up on the days when you don't want to because you know that it's necessary to get you from point A to point B. All of these points here are realistically just a mental shift. All these points here, whenever you think about skipping, whenever you think about not wanting to go, or you're like, I'm lacking motivation, go back to this video and freaking scroll wherever randomly and just pick a point from this list and you'll think about it, conceptualize it, and be like, okay, yeah, I definitely need to show up today. It's my responsibility to show up just for myself, just as I do others. Oh my God, I forgot how to read today. So sorry, guys. It is my responsibility to show up for myself just as I do others. I should be able to count on myself like others can count on me. I say this in so many videos, but there are going to be times when there's no one else you can count on. Again, it's going to be similar to separating yourself into two different people. You need to be able to lean on you. It's not always going to be someone there. And it's no one else's responsibility to make sure that you're okay, to love you, to support you, to encourage you. It is no one else's responsibility. So you might as well adopt that and be able to take yourself where you need to go. You need to understand the concept of taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself looks like showing up when you don't want to. So many people say, I don't have the time for the gym, or I'm not really a gym girl like that, or I'm not about the gym. Like, are you about brushing your teeth? Like, this is your health and your wellness. Not only is the gym better for the way that you look, of course, like yes, a lot of us start with a physique-based goal of wanting to look better, but realistically, you feel better, your mindset changes, you think better, your overall health is better, your cognitive brain function is better. Like, this is just non-negotiable in life here. If you pay attention to like half the things that you put into your body and that you eat, it can literally transform your life, the way that you think, the way that you move, the way that you feel. Just people want to say, oh, I don't have time for the gym, it's overrated, oh, you're a gym girl, you're a gym rat. It is for your overall health and wellness. It's better for your health, your mental health, your brain function, the way that you feel, the way that you think. I could get into this. I can make a whole separate video on this, in which I will if you guys want me to. As soon as you realize the correlation between the gym, training, nutrition, all that stuff, you'll start to understand that when you don't show up, not only is your confidence taking a blow, your self-respect, your self-love, all that, but also your overall health. It's not all about this vanity complex of wanting to be like shredded and I just want to look good and I want to get girls and I want to do all this stuff or I want to get boys, whoever you are. It starts to transform into I want to feel better, I want to think better, I want to be able to play with my kids when I'm older, right? And you realize that there are more benefits than just your physique. You'll be like, damn, I do want to show up because there's so many rewarding factors that come after the fact. And this is the last point here. Delayed gratification. I was overweight, insecure, and a shitty person, all that stuff. I was literally addicted to instant gratification. I kept wondering, like, why am I so unfulfilled? Why am I so unhappy? Like, I have all these things that I want, but realistically, I was insecure. And to fix that insecurity, I filled it with always going out to eat, always drinking, never being sober. I never went to the gym. I realized that it was in delayed gratification that I found actual fulfillment, and it transformed me into a better person. Because realistically, like, the relationship that you want is not going to be found with a roster full of women. The physique that you want is not going to be found in always eating whatever you want, whenever you want, with no restriction. The life that you want is not going to be found in always being drunk to escape the reality that you don't like. It's going to be found in the hard work of building a loving relationship with somebody, the hard work of showing up to the gym and restricting yourself when maybe you don't want to, because again, it's not always about giving in. You should have some form of restriction to be able to control yourself. And I want to talk about this quote here where it says, slow success builds character and fast success builds ego. Okay, the more patience it requires, the sweeter the fruit will be. If there's anything I can encourage you to do with this point here, it's to work towards something every single day, even though it may be hard, even though it may be feeling like you're not making progress. Continue to work at it, because when you do achieve it, you will feel a level of fulfillment that feels similar to euphoria. And I just want to reiterate, the longer it takes to get somewhere, the longer it takes to build something, the more patient you are, the more fulfilled you are going to be. Chasing instant gratification will always leave you feeling empty and it'll leave you feeling with no progress. You will always be chasing the new shiny thing. You'll always be going after something new. And there's another quote that I posted the other day. I don't remember who it's by, but I can't remember what it was. I think I posted it on my Instagram. Let's see. Here we go. Those who commit to nothing are distracted by everything. Commit to something, pursue it, chase it, build it. The people that have the life, that lead the life of the people that lead the life with the physique, the money, the whatever it is that you want, the relationships, all that stuff, are able to do that, are able to delay their gratification and work towards something for years before they see the results. They end up marrying the process. They treat the process as if it's a relationship, right? You are faithful to it, unwavering to it. You show up every single day and you're not worried about the end goal. You're not worried about what happens in the end. You just show up every single day because you made that commitment. So I'm filming the intro and the outro in the same spot. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's everything that I think about or reflect upon before I even consider skipping the gym, missing the gym, or not showing up for myself. The most important thing is every single time I think about skipping or not showing up for myself, I remember all those things that I just listed. Hopefully you can think about those before you think about skipping or giving up or quitting or anything like that. If you want to work with me one-to-one, the application is in the link in my bio on Instagram. Otherwise, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below or DM me. You guys know I will always respond. I love y'all so much, and I will see you guys in the next one.